All right, so today what we're going to do is look at the color wheel. So traditionally the color wheel is in a circle. This time though, what we're going to do is make our color wheel a rectangle. So what we're going to do is start with our paper, and you're going to need a ruler. The first thing you're going to do is take your paper and divide it in half any way you want. You can divide it in half this way, or you could go this way. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to divide mine in half like this. All right, so the next step then is I need to take one of these halves and start working with it. So I'm going to start working with my top half up here. And what I'm going to do now is divide this section into 3 sections. And I can do that any way. So now I have 1, 2, 3 sections. So what we need to do is start adding in our colors. So I'm going to start with this first top left section. And what I'm going to do is divide this one in half. And I can do that any way I want. I'm going to label this one red. I'm going to use an R to label that red. I'm going to skip this one, and now I'm going to go to this one right here. So now I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to again divide this one in half. And I'm going to label it the next color in line of the color wheel, which will be orange. So I'm going to make this one orange. My last section here, I'm going to divide that again. And I need to label it with the next color in line, which will be yellow. And I'm going to pick a section to make yellow. So I have red, I skipped one, I have orange, I skipped one, and I have yellow, and I skipped one. Now I need to work on my bottom half here. So I'm going to do the same thing and divide this one into 3 sections. And again, you can do this any way you want. I'm going to continue around kind of like a circle, and I'm going to work with this section right here, and I'm going to divide this one in half. And I can do that any way I want. I'm going to label these then, one of these, with the next color in line, which will be green. I'm going to put that one right here. I'll label that with a G. I'm going to go with this section right here now. Divide this in half any way I want. And I'm going to label it the next color in line, which will be blue. And I'm going to do that this one right here. My last section, I'm going to go in half like this. And I'm going to label it the last color, which will be purple. And I'm going to put that here. So I have red, skip, orange, skip, yellow, skip, green, skip, blue, skip, purple, skip. Okay, so now I can go ahead and I can start painting. I'm going to be painting just the colors that I labeled, which are our primary and our secondary colors. So you're going to need a paint palette like this. You're going to need the temper cakes, and you're going to need water, and you'll also need a brush. So the first thing I'm going to do is pick a color. I can start with any of the colors. It really doesn't matter. And I'll start with red. And I'm going to erase my R so that it doesn't show up underneath my painting. I'm going to dip my brush in the water to wet the brush. These paint just like watercolor paints. They need water to activate them. So I'm going to go around and load up my brush with the paint. I'm going to hold my brush like I would a pencil, and I'm going to put it down onto my paper like so, and I'm going to just drag it to get nice lines and a nice outline around my painting. It's okay if you get on the table, we can wipe that up with a sponge when you're done. So then what I'm going to do is just reload up my brush, and I'm going to fill this box in now with nice brush lines like so. And this keeps your painting look nice and neat. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is rinse my brush, and I'm going to move to my next color. I'm going to do orange next. I'm going to turn my paper so that, oops, I got a little bit on there, that's okay. I'm going to turn my paper so that my hand doesn't drag over this side over here. And I'm going to go into the orange next and really load up my brush. And I'm going to do the same thing where I outline. And fill in like so. With nice brush lines to keep it nice and neat. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video so I can paint the whole thing, and then I'm going to show you what the next step is going to be. Okay, so now I have gone and I've painted all my primary and secondary colors. The next thing I'm going to do is label where what we would call a tertiary color. So a tertiary color is where you take the primary color and the secondary color that's right next to it and you mix it together. So in this case, red and orange would make red-orange. So I'm going to go with my first section right here then. So I have red and I have orange, and when I mix it together, I get red-orange, and I'm going to label it RO. Then I'm going to go to my next set here. I have orange and I have yellow, and when I mix it together, I get yellow-orange. Go to my next set, green and yellow, make yellow-green. Green and blue, make blue-green. Then I have blue and purple that make blue-purple, or blue-violet you could call it. And then I have red and purple, and that makes red-purple, or we could call it red-violet. So what you're going to do now is get a mixing tray so that you can go ahead and start mixing your colors. So I'm going to start with the red-orange here. And when you mix colors, you always start with the lightest color first. So in this case, if I have red and orange, I'm going to use orange first. So I'm going to load up my brush with the orange, and I'm going to put it right here into my mixing tray like so. I'm going to rinse my brush so that I don't mess up my other colors. I'm going to get some red and mix it in here like so. And then I can go ahead and paint it like I would do everything else with my red-orange that I just mixed. If I run out of paint, I have to mix it back up again. Now this section you might want to paint twice. So once you're done painting everything, you may want to go back over this again because this is a little watery. So it'll be much more vibrant if you go back over it again, but you need to let it dry first before you do so. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my next section, which will be yellow-orange. I'm going to rinse my brush. Now, once again, I start with my lighter color first. So in this case, yellow will be my lighter one. I'm loading up my brush. I'm going to put it in my mixing tray like so. And then I'm going to take some of my orange and put it in here like this. And then I'm going to put it down here like this. Now, I don't see a big difference between these two, so I'm going to rinse my brush, and I want to add just a little bit more yellow into here. And then now I think that looks a little bit more yellow-orange. And now I'm going to paint this. With nice brush lines. I'm going to keep going all the way around until I have the whole thing painted. I'm going to pause the video so that I have this whole thing finished, and then I'll show you what the next step is. So the last step then, after you're done doing all your painting, is to outline with a black color pencil. What you're going to do is get one of these, get a black color pencil, get one of these little containers here that has the sharpener. Use these instead of my electric pencil sharpeners because those will eat the pencils. And what you're going to do then is take your ruler. It's very important that you use your ruler so you have nice straight lines. And you're going to place it down like this. And you're going to go around and just kind of clean up all of your edges, like so. Okay? You're going to go all the way around. Now take a look at this example though. Do you see how this has thick and thin lines? And this one as well. I have thicker lines and I have thinner lines. When you add thick and thin lines, it just gives your picture a little bit more interest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to make some of my lines thicker. So I'm going to just go and just kind of put it out this way just a little bit more. And when I do this, I'm going to fill this in. And now I have a difference between my two lines, and that's going to make it look a little bit more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and do my whole thing. When you're done, you're going to decide which way you want your picture to be held. I'm going to do mine this way. With your black color pencil, you're going to put your first and last name neat on the bottom and your homeroom number, and you're going to turn it in. So this is our color wheel lesson.